So we do have a quorum. If you would like to start or give a couple more minutes for Lauren and CJ.
Yeah, let's get started, and because we can take care of some of this. And like I say, I think CJ's coming, although she just phoned me a little while ago, and I'll try calling her back if she doesn't show up in the next few minutes.
Okay.
So our first item is
Make sure to do call to order with the time, and then let's do roll call.
Oh, it is 6:34. So let's come to order.
Okay, I can do the roll call if you'd like. Melinda.
Here.
Lauren is currently absent. Jason.
Here.
Matt.
He raised his hand.
Please say aye for the record.
I was muted.
There you go. Thanks. Cash.
Here. Cash, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry, I was not getting any audio before. I apologize.
Cool.
Okay, then CJ is currently absent. Helene?
Here. Aye.
Hi. And Councilmember Cuesta is not here. Okay, we can go ahead and get started.
All right. Has everyone reviewed the minutes from July meeting?
Yes.
I did not have any changes. I'm usually the one, but
yeah, I don't have any comments. So I guess unless other people have comments, I move to approve the minutes as is.
I'll second. Would all of those in favor say aye?
Aye.
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 So vote was unanimous for the record.
And a new thing on our agenda is public forum. I don't see any members of the public in this Zoom forum. Are there any? Here comes CJ. Are there any who have called in?
Oops, I don't have anything on my end except for you guys. You're the only ones here.
Okay. And CJ, welcome.
Hi, CJ.
We just approved the minutes. So now we're moving along. So if any members of the public show up, we'll work them in perhaps. And when there were no written public comments, I think
Looks like Dave's joining.
here comes Dave. Hello.
Hi, Dave.
Good evening. Pardon me, guys. Hello, everyone.
Did everyone get Dave's email with the city attorney's response to the landmark protection language?
I'm happy to resend that if it was overlooked or if I missed anybody.
But unmute yourself, CJ.
I got it, but I was trying to find those actual numbers, and I can't seem to find 16, whatever, that thing.
Oh,
5.3. I can might be able to send it to you. Here, let me bring up Unicode.
Just the specific parts he was talking about, because I got, I don't know. Anyone else, everyone else got a chance to look at that?
I know I have a copy of the ordinance in the binder that we originally got when the commission first met.
Quick point of order here. Sorry to be out of kind of out of place with this, but do we have the chat ability in Zoom here?
That's not
Apparently
set up.
not.
No, apparently we do not. Oops. Let me. I'm going to email the group the portion of the code. Stand by that CJ you were referring to.
And Matt, that's Title 16 you're sending out, or a portion of Title 16?
Yeah, actually, let's see. So it refers to 16.5.3, but I believe it is all of title. It's chapter 5. It starts at title 16.5.1, table of allowed uses. So you referred to in your email, I believe you referenced 16.5.3. It's in 2 places. Interesting. So title 2, chapter 15. So 16.6.11, let me hold on a second. 16.5.1, 16.5.5. All right, I'll send out a couple of them here. Stand by.
Just like Melinda said, I got 16.6.11 from the historic group, from HPC.
If you go to Google and you search Municode Inglewood, you will get the entire.
I know that
16.6.
seems to be the problem, is getting the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, stand by here. I found 16.11. I'm sorry, Dave. What's the one? I missed this in the email here. I didn't realize you'd mentioned this. The city already has a historic preservation commission. Oh, okay. No, we don't need Title 2, Chapter 15. We just need 16.6.11 and 16.5.3. Is there anything else?
16,
To that?
16.6.11 I already have, but 16.5.3 I don't.
Okay. Well, I'll reply all to the group here to Dave's email.
So I was going to note for the comments that the city attorney forwarded, the very first like bullet point they have, I want to make sure to note that that is not accurate, that all the codes proposed impact the rights of private property owners, because you can have it where it's either courtesy review by staff or commission, where that's just something between planning and the commission, or you can also have things where it's review by the board, but it's voluntary compliance by the property owners. So it would just be one of those things where it could come in front of the board. We say, well, we think that addition you want to put, or whatever the alteration you want to make is going to negatively affect this historic property, and the property owner can say, thanks for your comments. That's what I want to do. I'm going to do it anyway. So I just want to make sure to note that first, that number one to propose, that saying that they all propose to impact the rights of private property owners is not accurate. And the other two are kind of things like, I don't think that's what we were really asking for, because that's kind of speaking to the code that we operate under. We kind of already know that we have those. So I just want to make sure to note that, particularly with the number one.
Go ahead.
Well, Jason, real quick, those are good points. I'm taking notes here so I can respond back to the city attorney as well. Consider this a two-way conversation also. You know, if there's things that maybe were misconstrued on that end, then we'll provide the clarification. We can keep moving it forward. Your point is certainly taken on the first one, and the second and third as well.
Could it be possible the word impact mean effect and it isn't as dire as it sounds? Because it would affect them if they chose to voluntarily comply.
That's part of the actually the CLG template, and all we were, at least as I understood, and I think Jason, is all we were wanting to do is have design review phase for properties that we have already designated. And that would be the addition to the ordinance, that if we've designated a thing, then we want to weigh in if they're going to make alterations to it. And that there are mandatory versus voluntary ways to write that.
Yeah, and you know, again, just kind of, I know I've brought it up before, but speaking to my experience as a preservation planner for the Park County CLG, that's how they had it up there, just knowing that obviously a very rural area with, you know, ranchers and stuff, that any kind of more heavy-handed regulations would not really fly up there. So ours was just courtesy review, and that planning would get stuff in for a permit. It would come to our office, you know, myself and or the board would have opportunity to review and comment. And then that just went back to the planning office, and they included those comments in the rest of their work, you know, at their own designation. So that's but again, there's obviously examples where there's a lot more teeth to demolition and design review, but there's the whole spectrum, and I just kind of want to make sure that's kind of captured.
Yeah, I don't think we asked the question properly, I guess, is
That's what I'm feeling as well. I'm going to, and when I say we, I'll point that at me. I'll get back with the city attorney again. I appreciate those clarifications, Jason, and the way you describe it, as you have in these meetings several times, it certainly varies from, I think, what she took it to be. And so allow me to make that distinction with her, and then kind of see where she lands after that.
Thanks.
Also, I know, like in the documents that you had forwarded to the attorney, there was only certain sections of them that we wanted to look at, because the entire document discusses like the creation of the HPC, kind of what Allison had referred to in her email. The creation of the HPC and the landmark designation criteria. So the language we want her to look at is the language regarding landmark protections and the difference between the basic and the limited landmark protections. And that is ultimately going to be up to you guys, I think, to decide the language you want to bring before council, because that will require a change to Title 16 code. So I think that reaching out to the attorney there, that was that first step.
Yeah, I mean, let's say we'll try again and try to explain better.
Well, and excuse me, Melinda.
Yes.
Well, quickly, Zoom with the little delay. I'm a bad dance partner. I'm an even worse Zoom conversationalist. I'm constantly stepping on people's senses. So pardon me, Melinda. I caught your sense there. Eric, well, I've got the Muni code up right now too. Can you point me to exactly the section that we want her to look at, just so that I'm clear when I get back with her again?
So it's actually not the section that's in our Muni code. It's actually the sections on the two documents that I had sent you in the email. And I think I called the sections out in that email. I said, I think in the limited section, it's sections 3 and 4, and then in the basic section, it's sections 4 through 8 is what we would want her to look at.
Okay, and those are the documents she received. So let me,
Mhm.
I think a misunderstanding took place somewhere, but let me clarify with her then. And I
Okay.
appreciate, again, the further clarification from you guys as well.
Yeah, I think we're just kind of looking for the feasibility of, her thoughts on the feasibility of those different levels. I get kind of from, perhaps from her response that there may not be a whole lot of appetite for the more harder line regulations, but yeah, just kind of seeing, what she thought would be the most feasible to bring forward.
You bet. Thank you, Jason.
Okay. So we'll work on our study session presentation after we refine that a little bit. So our next item is the neighborhood mapping and designations, and I'd hope that Madeline would have been here to explain what kind of input she's gotten from the whatever she put up. I never got a link to it, so did anyone else?
I don't believe I did. CJ, did you get a link to the map? You're on mute. Oh, CJ, you're on mute.
Damn. Yeah, I guess I did, but I didn't look to see who didn't get it because I just assumed everyone got it. So let me go ahead and try to find it again and make sure I send it out.
Everyone should have gotten a copy to that link. If not, I have it right in my email, so I can resend it if anybody.
I was about to say the Inglewood Maps one I have was sent out March 5th.
I have one from July 16th that Eric
That's
just sent out.
That's the most recent one. Yeah, that's the one.
And I am pretty sure yeah, I didn't get it. I got Helene's picture of the mask sign from 1918. That was cool. But I didn't get anything else.
I'm looking July 16th. I'm not seeing it either. Jason, who do you see up there in the note line?
It came from Eric. It went to everybody.
What's the subject?
Neighborhood map GIS.
My computer's being retarded. The last thing I saw was January 16th. That's the last thing I see from Eric.
July 16th here from the iPad. Must have missed it. No, I did look
On
at
your
this.
blocked
No,
center.
I recall it.
Well, so we don't really know what's going on with that.
Well, I think she just has it out there. I think it's truly just a fluid thing going on. The thing she sent me had to do with, it seemed like there was one, well, what was, just so you know, the first thing I thought was interesting is when I went to Inglewood and typed in maps, I got all these maps, but none of Madeline's maps. And I was like, oh, that was interesting. So I don't know, Eric, if that's something you could look into.
I don't know if that's like official yet.
Oh, I see. It's
But CJ and Melinda, I did resend you that link to the GIS map, so let me know if you don't get that, okay?
So our area is indicated, Melinda, our area is indicated as Strayers Broadway Heights. There's a weird one down here though that's the athletic complex, Sandra's Subdivision, Mitchum's Subdivision. I don't recall those. Where's that at? Jefferson, Clarkson.
I know we have the giant spreadsheet on our shared drive that lists the legal description subdivision.
Be interesting to validate these against that. South Broadway Heights. Some of them seem right. Some of them that don't have a name.
Well, there was one I saw, it said Spear Broadway Edition. I was like, well, maybe that one's off.
Yeah.
Darn, I'm not getting anything from you, Eric.
Let me forward it to you, CJ. On the way. Anybody else missing it?
Yeah, I'm not getting anything. I do get emails from Eric, but not that one.
Just sent it.
That's right. So I sent it, Melinda, to your Earthlink account, and CJ, I sent that to your MSN. Does that sound right?
There's got to be. Do you remember way back when we had, ever since the get-go, I wasn't getting things from you guys? I wonder if
Yeah.
it falls into that weird gray zone.
Yeah.
I got.
We're not showing up in your spam folder, is it?
No, I looked under there. I don't have anything in my junk right now. Or
There's very seldom a gray zone in email. Usually it goes somewhere. Unfortunately, it could be.
CJ Cullinan at MSN.com. Does that sound right?
yeah, my girlfriend, she can't send it to me from her Gmail. She has to send it to me from her AOL. I don't know.
I know for a long while AOL couldn't handle attachments.
Did you get it, Melinda? If you
Nope.
got it, Melinda, that's good enough.
Nope.
Because Matt will send to me.
Well, here, I got an idea. Stand by. Am I allowed to screen share? Eric?
I only see his name. Oh, there he is.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you are allowed to screen share. I was just double checking. Melinda, your email address I have as elswickem@earthlink.net.
That's right.
That's okay.
You see my screen?
Oh, yes.
Right. So the thing with this one is you have to go on to each section to open up what you see. Right? That's why it looks like so cluttered with all those things.
Yeah. Let's close that out. Here. So this was a weird one that I was seeing here. Sandra's Subdivision. Never heard of that.
Oh, yeah.
Mitchum's Subdivision. So this is Inglewood High School. I don't know. This is strange. These are ones that are a little strange here. We've got Mansfield Edition. If there's anything you'd like me to stop on, I certainly can here. So we go down to Dartmouth. So this is our area here, Melinda.
There we are.
Strayers
Strayers
Broadway
Broadway Heights.
Which is odd because there's Sherman Street Residences Subdivision, which is Sherman and Cornell. That's right up the street from me. That's the those goofy looking modern things that they built there, the triplex there on the corner of Sherman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then Trigg Point Subdivision. I don't recall what oh. No? I can't picture what's on Lincoln and Dartmouth. Nonetheless, these little breaks from that, I would argue those should not be there.
Yeah. Well, and I know on the Sanborn maps, for instance, Strayers Broadway Heights is like stops half of a block or in the middle of a block.
And you know why that happened? On Sherman Street, and I believe it is Sherman and it's between, I believe, don't know if it's Bates. No, it's one up here. It's here. Between Amherst and Yale, there used to be a road through here. And
Oh.
I think that's the half block that actually, no, I don't think it was even
Uh-huh.
all the way to Lincoln. I think it was just a road between Sherman and Grant, right through the middle of this block. That I believe that's the half block you're referring to.
Yeah, might be. Because you go further south from there, and like your story is Broadway Heights, I am, and I'm on the other side of Cornell. But
Yeah, I don't know where some of these names came from because I don't recognize them from our map.
yeah,
And I think the initial objective here was to, if anything, have a broader area of, instead of breaking it up into little tiny pieces. And even the modern developments have been given their own name. So I don't know. It's interesting.
What's the big one to the left, just out of curiosity? Yeah, that one. That's funny.
Yep, there's still General Iron Works.
Terry's Edition, and then, oops, there it is.
What's the mobile home one called? Down there in the corner of that big one across the street from Santa Fe. To the left. Just a little to the left. Yeah, that one.
No, that one? Nothing.
No, it doesn't say. But it has its own legal protections and everything. Huh.
And that's a mobile home park. Interesting. It has no name. What's this? Dartmouth Industrial Park. Yeah. Probably valid.
Yeah.
There's a big chunk of District 4 that's unnamed. Kind of surprisingly, it's just west of Broadway, like just south of Oxford. And it's actually, that's where I am. And so that's why I saw it. And it's actually like a big chunk of it, kind of to Jason's Park, between Broadway and Jason's Park, between Oxford and Quincy.
Oxford, Quincy.
Yeah, between Oxford and Quincy, like it's just on the west side of Broadway I think on the east side it's Broadway Heights or South Broadway Heights or something like that.
Right.
And then on the west side it's completely unnamed.
Well, that's because it has had a lot of different individual contractors. And interestingly enough, one of my friends lives in the house that was transferred from the Cinderella City area before they built Cinderella City. They sold houses and people just picked them up and moved them.
Yeah, that's Paul.
Paul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Paul Straczynski, yeah.
That's
So I think,
My
I
God,
wonder if it's not a subdivision, like it never was. It was just pieces.
Yeah,
Oh,
that makes sense.
Oxford.
Like
You're saying in this area?
Yeah, like if you click on it, a chunk of it will light up. I think it's like a pretty good size piece of District 4.
And it's strange that kind of goes here and
Yeah.
up and up and up and
Yeah.
up and all the way.
That is really
up
weird.
And over here.
And like even on the Sanborn maps.
Oh, maybe all the unnamed ones get connected.
Oh, yeah.
Because that trailer park was unnamed as well. So all the unclaimed ones just automatically are like considered one district. The district of the unknown.
Dun, dun, dun.
District of the unknown. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Harlem. Yeah, Harlem and Inglewood.
Yeah, that's
There
the
you
one
go.
that Mike Jones felt. He was in that group. Huh. Well, you can play with this all day. I think the issue is, what do we do with this information? It gets to be too much data. That how can we make it useful information?
Problem is it's too. I mean, the objective was to have this more grouped and summarized, and I don't think that's what ended up I mean, it's very fragmented, and then even at that, I question the accuracy of some of the information in this.
Mm-hmm.
There's some like districts that already have like names that have been embraced. Maybe like find some of the larger districts and have them like absorb the smaller ones or like the adjacent unnamed ones, and maybe try to use natural features. Like, are we allowed to do that, to just propose like our own definitive district drawing?
This was actually one of the earlier projects that we started on as a commission, and there is a map that CJ and
Mike?
what was his name?
Mike Jones?
Yeah, Mike Jones. CJ and Mike Jones worked on, and they took information from the county and the county records and kind of created an overlay map of the city. And, you know, realistically, the county information is relatively accurate, right, CJ? I mean, there's...
Yeah, but the problem, remember, like what he was finding was that it's piecemeal. There's certain subdivisions that were substantial. I mean, like you've got the Carnation subdivision on the other side of Broadway. Is that where Twin Dragons is or something? And the idea that, you know, certain places came up on the Sanborn, those different maps that we merged together. I would have to say the Sanborns, don't you think, Melinda?
Yeah.
And so I'll say Sanborns and then the GIS from Arapahoe County.
But the Sanborn maps don't indicate subdivisions, do they?
They did to a certain extent. Like that's how we found out about the Carnation subdivision, that, you know, where all the carnation plants were on the west side of Broadway there.
So help me
And
out here.
the later Sanborns did, yeah.
What block is Twin Dragon on?
See, look at that, Spears Broadway. You see it? That's the one I saw. I was like, wrong.
That's Twin
You are,
Dragon,
yeah.
right? That's Twin Dragon right there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Twin Dragon.
But it's not the Spears Broadway edition. I can guarantee that. I'm pretty smart that way.
Nor do I mean, I don't want to get into any of the political stuff with this, but we probably shouldn't be naming anything in our city after Spear anyway.
But either way, so I think I can't imagine Madeline looking at this and going, well, now I put it out there. I mean, it's been months, literally months, that she's put out for people to put in what do they call their neighborhoods. And she's got a few that are a couple of blocks. She's got a few that feel they're a bigger neighborhood. And even the Broadway South, Broadway Heights, that's huge. She's got pockets in there of people that feel they're these kind of, you know, different names. So seeing that overlapped on top of this, I can't imagine. I can imagine, again, that it's just too much data, and how do you make it useful?
Well,
I think our original intent was to show people where they're in a historic area and have them be able to take some pride in the history of Inglewood and the locations they're in.
yeah, but to Helene's point too, I mean, we should be able to take the map that we have and just recommend that.
Yeah.
You know, just say, use this as a starting point. And I don't think that happened, right, Eric, CJ?
No, I mean 2016, the city council definitely worked with parks. Like Arapahoe Acres is distinct, but we're in the Roman Park section. So.
Yeah, and
So it's not on this thing. The other thing is a city council or city planning or whatever they call that other map. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
yeah, so that map just looks to be like official subdivisions, and
Well,
I
official
was
may
under
be
the impression
mistaken
that you
too.
guys were going to group these together into larger neighborhoods, and I thought that that was what would be the joint project with Madeline was to kind of put everybody's heads together and figure out what would be maybe some logical boundaries for these neighborhoods.
Well, like I said, I mean, she didn't obviously, I can't say percentages. I don't know if she got 5% or 25% response rate. But again, even she said there was even one neighborhood that felt they were very close, but they felt that their neighborhood was different, you know. So she had some overlap. So when you start involving the city patrons themselves, it didn't really add to the historic. It just added to what gave them a sense of community. What neighborhood community?
Well, and that's sort of Madeline's remit, and ours is slightly different. I mean, we're looking at the history and the historicness of it. And she's looking at neighborly communities.
Yeah.
What if maybe like a small team got together, like of 2 or 3 people to start, like maybe putting some stuff down, like just hand drawing borders, and then bringing it to the committee for like revisions until there's something that everyone on the committee agrees with, and then put that forward. Is that what you guys already did?
Well, yeah, to a major fault where we started running into each house didn't quite fit in this subdivision or didn't quite fit in that one because they were maybe like your neighborhood. They were so piecemeal.
Yeah.
And
well, my neighborhood's been decided. It's the district of the unknown. So we're good now. It's Cuesta Heights.
So this is the map that we got. From Arapahoe County.
CJ, do we have that electronic?
Yes.
I honestly think Mike did it, but I can guarantee you I didn't.
I know I've got it. I mean, it's a PDF.
It was one of those document things, remember? Because you were out of town, but you were like, oh, well, that's how blah, blah, blah. But the one I gave Madeline has all the markings, like what you're thinking of, Helene.
Okay.
Where, again, like where I said where something was Carnation Subdivision, because that's where the Carnation farm was, you know?
Yeah, that's cool.
But I mean, there was definitely a time. I mean, Doug Cohn remembers Broadway, Hamden, Floyd, even to Dartmouth, didn't have houses in it for the longest time because it was a flood zone. It was where all the water drain off went. So when that started getting built in the 50s and 60s, do you know what I mean? Anyway,
Yeah.
That was just little nitpicky information.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and throw this out, Helene. If there's any interest you have on your part, I am excited about this going somewhere, but we keep running into information overload, I think, to where it's like, okay, here we go. We've got all these maps overlaid. Like we had even talked, what was it, last year or 2 years ago now, Melinda and Doug, about getting the citizenry together and sitting down with EHPS and using one of the days and just throwing out all the maps and then let people walk around with pencils and write on them or something.
Yeah, in fact, we were going to have it at the block party. The society was going to have it at the block party for people to.
Well, but yeah, never mind.
And Doug did that flyer and did a thing on Nextdoor about are you living in a historic house, and got a couple hundred replies that people actually knew quite a lot about their houses.
But interestingly enough, not a lot about their subdivisions.
Yeah.
So I found it here. I'm going to go ahead and forward the link to you all. Actually, I'll just forward it now.
Yeah, it's not, I would need to send Helene an invitation to the Google Drive, I guess.
We've got information all over the place on a couple different Google Drives, and I think when
Mike?
I can't remember his name.
Mike.
What? I can't remember his name tonight. When he left, he assigned me the drives. I think I'm not sure, but I can still see the old drives, so I need to get that information copied over somehow.
I can see the old drive, but there isn't much on it because Lauren moved it to the new drive, where, much to my annoyance, I have to log into Google in order to look at it. But
Well, I love this project. Like, I love what you all are trying to do, and to see like big sections of the map unnamed and others like so granular that it's not really serving its purpose. I'm wondering if like what we can do to advance the ball on this project. Like, I would love to get involved. Like, maybe I can coordinate with Madeline and do something to get, I know you guys already have all the information, but maybe strategize how to process it and maybe put together a plan to review or something.
Absolutely.
I mean, that'd be awesome. I mean, the idea of me being with you just purely for the history of the project, I think would be cool. Obviously, with you and Madeline, new eyes and new perspectives, and again, taking this little tidbit of information, but making it into groupings.
Yeah, so that there's like some mass, what's it called, critical mass, like find the areas of critical mass in the city that sort of can start to be anchors for the districts. But I think too that all the granular information should be preserved in the process as an accompanying document, so that like when this is done, all of that detail is not lost. There's like a definitive document that says like, excuse me, my dog, come here, Giggle. Hey, I can't get too mad at her. She has seizures, so I have to like be really good to her. Hey, that's enough. Oh my gosh. I'm so
That's
sorry.
a dog?
Yeah, that's my little dog. My little chihuahua. There's like somebody here for the census or something. I can't do it right now. But yeah, like I think that like there could be a document to accompany a new district map that could say like this year, this is what we did. And then each district could have its own like pros where it's like these were subdivisions at one point, we absorbed them for this reason, kind of have like a methods explanation attached to it, so that the history isn't lost and that like the process is transparent, so that we can move forward. Because I think that's probably the sticking point, is like we don't want to lose the detail, but to accomplish the greater goal we have to like kind of pull the trigger on some of the decisions. But if we capture that detail in a really solid document, then it's not lost. It's for the
Well, it's
record.
interesting because I went to Denver and said, how did you guys do it? Because you know how you can go into, and it says, this is blah Baker neighborhood. This is blah, blah. And it has little signs, which is what I was all excited about us doing in Inglewood. And I asked how they did it, and they said, oh, it was political hell. And because the idea was there were so many open meetings to say, okay, you guys, we're going to board this as Baker. And some people came out and said, yeah, but it was blah, 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 and it was this. And, you know, some of the people that had that information. And
yeah.
so they said they did have to just kind of assimilate and say, okay, well, this is where we're going with it.
Yeah, but capturing that will at least honor the accuracy of the more granular information, so that everyone can move on and not feel like it's lost.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and documenting the process. I love that. I think that's fantastic. Being able to document the process throughout and to identify, well, this was a hard decision, but this is how we got to it. That's fantastic. Elaine, I copied the whole board here, but you should have received the high resolution scan of the work that we had done previously, or the work that CJ and Mike did.
Yeah, I did get one. In fact, I got Eric's also.
I do have it.
And I just sent Helene the PDF
Of all the
of
land
the
board.
subdivisions map, which
Wow.
might take a while to arrive because it's a big file.
So and CJ, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it sounds as though the printed text in the areas was information that Arapahoe County had in their records and provided with GIS, and then the notations and yeah, CJ, actually you've got pretty good handwriting. No, it's good. It's a lot better than mine. But the notations, I think, was work that was done as kind of initial adjustments.
See, we have Chicken Ranch Estates. I just think that's hilarious.
That's really
I
funny.
think that should stay. That should stay.
But see, all that stuff is up north. I mean, everything's north of Hamden.
That sounds historic, though. You know, Chicken Ranch Estate.
It really
At
does.
least we don't have Cherry Hills' issue on the other side of Clarkson. That's not.
Yeah,
That's
I still
thankfully
occasionally get mail, you know, the occupant type things that think I'm in Cherry Hills Village.
No, there's
Like,
no, absolutely same deal here. But if so, there's a subdivision in Cherry Hills right across the street from Clarkson, and I can't remember exactly where it's at, but it is a pretty Swastika Heights.
No, Swastika. I'm saying Nazi one, but you're right. Swastika Heights.
Yeah, at least that's not in our area. We don't have to deal with that one.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
when you start looking at this, I swear to God, Helene, you're going to get lost because we've got Woolen Weber's Broadway Heights, Jackson's Broadway Heights, South Broadway Heights. I mean, it is hilarious. Anyway, I look forward to sharing this this job with you and to see what we can do and how we can do it. Because even those little, what I call arms that go off towards Sheridan and gets tucked in with Sheridan and Littleton over there, it's like, how do you name that, you know? Because it wasn't Raceway, it wasn't Horseway, it wasn't any of those things. And, you know, it's just like, it's just a hand over there, you know?
Well, maybe we can set up a
was
time
only
to
incorporated when.
Yeah.
So CJ and Helene, you're going to work with Madeline then and try to figure out some steps forward.
Yeah,
I think that's
to hear where Madeline wants to go with the information too. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, I agree because
Sounds good to me.
Elena, we kind of just hit a wall.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll be good. We'll start with a small group meeting and maybe just lay out some strategies and methods for how to proceed, bring it back to the group, and just take it from there.
Sounds great.
Yay, I'm excited to be part of it. Thank you guys.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time before we assigned you 1 or 2 jobs. Or 3 or 4, you know.
This is a doozy. It's a lot of data, I agree, but I'm very excited to work with you guys and get to know you all better too. This has really been fun so far.
Sounds good. Do me a favor, if you don't have my information after this, when everybody's closing off, if you and I could just share our numbers right away so we can start figuring out what days and times work best.
Perfect.
Yeah. In the non-virtual days, we could just, you know, ask those questions or write them all down in our notes. And so times are a little different now.
Next.
Yeah. So let's move on to actually city's response to the wish list. City hasn't responded. Matt, is that right?
Hasn't responded. I've emailed and I left a message. We'll see. Dave, how is city staff back in City Hall now or not?
And you know, Eric, I'll definitely defer to you. I thought many folks were back in the office. I think that there's some that are home for various medical purposes. But who, do you mind me asking who you're reaching out to, or which department?
The building department, Karen Montanez. I don't know, any idea if she's in? She may be, I mean, it's a weird time for building departments, so in a way I kind of felt bad chasing her, because I can imagine the stress that they're under right now with everything. But I did actually even call just before the meeting here, and it went to voicemail, left a voicemail. So I was hoping to catch her. I mean, last time when we addressed this with her, it was a pretty quick thing. We were able to get in front of her quickly, but I don't know. Maybe times are different. But I emailed her and give her a phone call and left a message.
So let me try reaching out to her one more time, and if she doesn't get back to you within a couple days, Matt, let me know, and I'll just go. She's just down the hall for me, so I can just go down and talk with her. But I do know that they're extremely busy lately, and I believe they're short-staffed as well, so that could be part of the delay.
And I'm sure, and I can't imagine what the inspectors are going through right now, having to deal with, inspections with the craziness. So. Cool. I'll update the group. I'll set a reminder in my calendar to update the group. Let's call it Tuesday next week. I'll just send out a quick email and let you know if I've heard back. Is that good? Or do you want to give it a little more time, Eric?
No, that sounds good to me.
Okay. We'll look for that. Now, did everybody read Eric's draft of the scope of work for the survey, for the RFP for the survey?
Yeah, I did.
Any comments, questions, concerns?
I had 3 comments. The first one has to do, what does limited recon, whatever that word was? Limited recon. What does the limited part mean?
Oh, they talk about that in the actual grant packet paperwork, but Jason might be able to speak to a little more to that. I don't remember what that was off the top of my head. I believe it was like maybe a windshield survey.
Yeah, so that's what it means, rather than, there's kind of different levels for reconnaissance. And this is, like Eric said, a windshield survey. So they're not going to be producing individual site forms for reconnaissance forms for properties, because this is a really broad planning document. So yeah, that's what they mean by limited, is they're not going to be producing, like I said, those reconnaissance I think their numbers like 1405 site forms for it. So it's
You're
something.
talking a whole nother language to me. So what is reconnaissance and what is 1405?
Reconnaissance surveys, just kind of quick look at things. And so if you're saying like a full reconnaissance survey, you'd make limited forms. But this is just a windshield survey. They're not going to produce individual forms for buildings. They're just going to go around the city and identify characteristics of various areas, stuff like that.
Now here's my question. $15,000, I have no idea if that means 25 people are working for 2 days and they're done, or if $15,000 means 5 people work for 6 months and they're done. How does that normally break out?
Well, I think it depends on the stipulations of the State Historical Fund as far as duration. I think it's usually like a year they have to complete it with certain deliverables. I think they've extended that during the pandemic, because it's obviously a lot harder to do research and various other things they have to do. But it wouldn't be a large team. Most likely it would be 1-2 people doing this as far as a consulting firm.
Because I'm going to throw out the Inglewood Historic Preservation Society definitely already has some of this stuff written down. They're going to be doing a map, right, Matt? Something that's been in process for a couple of years there too, of various parts of Inglewood that they already feel should be we should be determined historic. I mean, that list is already created. Is that what we would call the limited recognizance?
No, that would be more like background research, which is also included in this. I think it's like the first bullet point is conduct thorough research of state and local repositories and stuff. So they would be reaching out to people like the Historical Society, as well as us and other entities. So that would be like background research. That's not reconnaissance survey.
I think that was all my questions.
Yeah, this looks like a good draft to me. To your point, Jason, a moment ago about the stipulations of the State Historic Fund, do we need to put something in here in this RFP that says the consultant will abide by and comply with whatever stipulations are imposed by the State Historic Fund?
Like what?
I guess that's maybe more a question for comfort with the city. You know, that's something that if they want the contract, they're going to have to sign stuff with the State Historical Fund as well as the city. So I think it would be covered under that. But certainly, if there's an extra layer of comfort for the city, that's something you could probably stick in somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a thought that whatever stipulations, the timeline or otherwise, that whoever's responding to this RFP understands and agrees that they're going to be bound by the same stipulations that the city's bound by.
Is there any way we can say 6 months or less?
I wouldn't recommend doing that. Since it's their money, we'd have to go with what State Historical Fund says. It can also be the fact that 6 months, that's a pretty tight window to complete a large project like this. So I would not recommend pushing really tight timelines beyond what the State Historical Fund has for their requirements.
But you're saying they're extending a year now to what, 2 years? Because I think a lot of this stuff is done. You walk around and you go on the computer.
It's trust me, it's a lot more than that.
That's what I'm curious about. Tell me.
I don't know if you remember when the State Historical Fund outreach folks came and they shared some documents about what all goes in there. So it's not just saying, hey, that looks historic. This is going to be a planning document that'll outline steps for future intensive level surveys, potential nominations at both the local, state, and national level, as well as all kinds of other stuff. Even though people have avocationally done some research, and that's something that will absolutely be considered, we don't have anything close to what this document will produce.
Understood.
As long as the bidders understand that we have to have their bid so we can apply for a grant. But,
oh, I'm sure they understand.
Yeah, so next steps, after we approve the scope of work draft, basically, Jason, I was going to ask you for, so requirements on our end, we need to reach out to 2 entities to get estimates of what it would cost to do the scope of work. And if it was going to be anything over the 15,000, then maybe if there were certain areas of the city that they could focus on, somewhere to like maybe scale back the project if they couldn't do the whole city. So we need to get 2 estimates from 2 different companies. And Jason, I was going to ask you, since you are familiar with that, if you have any good ideas, if you have some recommendations of who to send this to, that would be our next step.
I thought you had like a list of like 20 or 30, right, Jason?
Oh, well, we have a kind of a self-designated list that the state keeps for people who meet the Secretary of Interior standards for qualifications. But yeah, so we can go off that. There's certainly people I would think that are worthwhile. Some very reputable people worth asking if they would like to respond. There's done a lot of this work. Three Gables, which is Dion Wolfenbarger's done a lot. Arch Professionals, Front Range Research Associates, uh, Clear Story, Preservation Inc. Those are all people who I would really love to see work on it, just because they have lots of experience with this and they just they nail them every time. But again, we have that big list that we can kind of go off as well. So if the requirements too, then yeah, we can kind of pick from those. But this is how the city works.
But how many people are on that list? I mean, the idea, Eric, of him trimming it down like he just did to 3 for you, is that enough? Is it something we want to open it up to more than that, or?
So it's just required to get 2 estimates on our end. I think if we want to send it to other companies to take a look at, I think we can. I would definitely want to approve that with the community development director first, just to make sure we're following protocol.
I was just thinking, because Jason gave you 3 names. Is that enough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yay, go.
Yeah, can you email those to me, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a side note for, if there is a reason to open it more, there are kind of boards like PreserveNet, people put up RFPs and things like that. But that's like a nationwide board. I think and we want somebody local. So kind of going through that list. And if those people are busy, which they may be, some of the folks like Three Gables, they're kind of cutting down on their work because they're getting close to retirement stuff. So if people are busy, there's certainly other folks to reach out to.
That which is why I wonder, shouldn't we send it out to 4 or 5 to begin with, because some may decline to bid.
Yeah, good point. I was curious, Diane Ray Tomaso is our local historic preservationist here in Inglewood. She wasn't listed. Is that because she's not doing stuff like that, or?
No, I mean that's certainly another option. She knows Inglewood. She's another person who's kind of scaled back the amount of work she's doing, but certainly she knows a lot of Inglewood stuff. So definitely another good option.
I throw out too, you guys may know this is a little aside, her husband Ray Tomaso died a while back, so just FYI. Okie dokie.
Okay, so any other comments regarding the scope of work? If it's okay, I would like a motion to approve from you guys, and then basically that'll give me the jurisdiction from community development to start reaching out to get.
So moved.
I'll second.
Is there a second? All in favor of approving this draft scope of work?
Aye.
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 All in favor?
All in
Thank
favor.
you. Unanimous. Thank you.
Unanimous.
All right. And this was actually the subject that I'd put as new business, and somebody altered my agenda and put it under old business. So, but we've done that already now. So I think we're down to staff's choice.
Okay, and I don't really have anything this month. Hopefully we'll get some estimates by next month's meeting, and then the next step will be getting the RFP approved by City Council. So that's about all I have on my end.
And at that point, we can apply for when we have the
Yep,
It
when we
moves our
have
fee in hand,
when we have the estimates, then we can apply for the grant. I've already given one of the city attorneys the grant application and the packet, so he is reviewing that right now. So we should be ready to move forward pretty quickly when we get the estimates, hopefully.
Okay. Progress, yay. Commissioner's choice. Who has anything?
Oh, this isn't true history, but our historic district, Arapahoe Acres, is going to be having a Choc Art Competition on September 20th. It'll be judged. And driveways and sidewalks, I can't say that I'm getting people busting down my doors for chalk, but hopefully we'll get people. If you guys know of any artists that might be interested in joining us, just give them my number and let them call me. I think it'd be fun.
Well, we can get Julian Beaver to come and do something really outstanding. But, yeah, sounds fun.
I don't have anything.
Anything? No.
The only thing I have is from the Inglewood Historic Preservation Society. We created a kind of response to the Inglewood Downtown Matters plan, as the city manager had asked for input on that. So we did a 2-page document where we wrote up kind of a summary of what our thoughts were with the plan, but then also kind of identifying areas that we didn't think existed in the plan. I'm trying to find that right here. I'll try to send it out to everybody so you can read it. We didn't have a whole lot of time to do it, but I think what we came up with was pretty good. It was kind of pointed in certain areas. It definitely identified some of the failures with the design of the city center, and the fact that there was virtually no historic or even character in city center that other than the old Macy's building or Broadway Southwest building there. So it was kind of pointed in a few areas, but we did receive confirmation that they're amending the plan and including some of our recommendations.
That's great. I was curious if anyone driven down South Broadway where Blue Chair used to be. I thought it was kind of cool. They were taking off the 1970s front and getting to the brick. Now they're putting a brick all over the front of it, so it's covering it up. It's a bummer.
Well, yeah, the one, the lighting store, which still had the painted sign that says there's parking in the rear on Lincoln Street, which there isn't, but dates from when it did. Did anyone else get noticed or know anything about the city on what September 2nd is going to have a town hall to discuss zoning?
Oh, that thing I sent out to people?
Yeah.
That looked intriguing, and I was thinking we should all go. I mean, at least attend.
I think that's for the Title 16 update, which is our zoning code chapter. I believe that's what it is.
Yeah.
And Eric, you are correct, but it's a very, just a brief, it's a very broad conversation. And you know that there's definitely a lot of different perspectives on growth. You know, it's especially in districts 1 and 2, you've got a lot of older houses getting knocked down, getting replaced with a couple units. I'd say that's probably one of the most primary things that we hear. So the more citizen input, the better. If you guys have availability that night, it'd be great for anybody to listen in or chime in if you have thoughts of your own. But that is going to be, I believe they said it's going to take the course of a year to get Title 16 entirely rewritten. The more input they can get from citizens, though, I think that they want to go about doing that for a good portion of that year, so they can get as much feedback as possible. You guys certainly, I think, have your finger on the pulse of Inglewood and development and just the character of the city. So you would always be great perspectives on it. I'll leave it at that, but if you're available, your input would certainly be valued.
Hey, Matt, if you can make sure everyone on the board of the society is aware and involved, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we do all have a zoning map, which explains a lot of like why so many single family houses are being knocked down in the northern part of Inglewood and not so much in the southern part of Inglewood. And it's because all those southern part ones are zoned as R1, so they can't build a duplex or a triplex on that lot. So yeah, we definitely, some of us have definite opinions about the zoning. But, anybody got anything interesting? Thank you for that that picture of the guy in the 1918 mask, Helene.
You guys all inspired it.
Yeah.
That was like the last thing somebody said was like, talked about like historic masks, and I thought, I wonder if there were masks, and I looked it up, and sure enough, you could get lost researching it. It's really funny. And they had to campaign like 100 years ago during the Spanish flu. They had to campaign for people to wear masks. It was just like it is today. Yeah, it's the same exact thing. Like people didn't want to do it, and other people are like, you have to do it. It's your civic duty. It was the same exact thing for the Spanish flu. I thought that was like really interesting.
Yeah.
Repeat ourselves.
500,000 people had to die before they figured it out. So,
if anybody, I don't know if anybody listens to Radiolab on NPR. They did a special on the 1918 Spanish flu and how it changed the course of history in many cases. It's really fascinating. So, it's kind of interesting.
yeah.
What was the name of it again?
Radiolab.
Radiolab. But just type in Spanish flu.
Let me see what the name of it was. It was really good. It talked about the historic effect because the president at the time got the Spanish flu. The U.S. president at the time got the Spanish flu, and it affected the negotiations with after World War I on the Treaty of Versailles.
Woodrow Wilson had the Spanish flu. I didn't know that.
Yeah, thank you for what I couldn't remember the president's name, so thank you for that. Josh. Well done on American history. According to Radiolab, Woodrow Wilson had the Spanish flu, and it's dispatches from 1918 is what it's called.
Well, I know Wilson had a stroke while he was in office, and Mrs. Wilson was running the country for a while. The presidency being not as visible then as it is now. So, yeah. All right, we're keeping on.
Anybody have anything else? Or
Oh, I guess one more thing. The Inglewood moments in history. Are you guys getting those?
I haven't gotten the most recent one.
I guess I read in the Historic Society newsletter that there's 6 or 8 of them out there. And so I finally went on there because Arapahoe Acres was done. I wasn't too excited about it. I already did talk to them. It didn't bring up the historians that worked on it in Inglewood. It didn't use the names of the people, our architect and stuff here in Inglewood. But the moments in history is a cool video. It's entertaining, and get yourself on it. Somehow find it. Again, you can just type in Inglewood moments in history, boom, and then you get.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of YouTube.
But it would be nice. Somehow I'm not getting like here it is. And Eric, I don't know how it's being disseminated, but
Yeah, I don't have anything.
because that type of stuff should come to all the boards and commissions just because they spent all that money and effort to create it. We all should, as people involved with Inglewood City government, we should kind of know what our moments in history were. But even us as the commission should be getting those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who's responsible for sending that out. I can ask around.
I don't know who's responsible for sending it out, but obviously it's Greg and Lucia that are doing it. But who's in charge of getting it out, I couldn't tell you. But what's nice is you're in that building, so that narrows it down, right? To only a few hundred people.
Well, in the earlier ones, it was in a next door post from Doug Cohn.
Mm.
Yeah, that was it. Oh, it's Chris and Ann Loricello. Chris and Ann. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, they're in our communications department.
They're the ones. Yeah, so they're the ones creating it.
Okay. Yeah, I can run that by them and see if see how they're sending that out.
I'm thinking if we're not getting it, a lot of people active in Inglewood isn't getting it probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you see him, Dave?
I thought it was on me. You know, it's interesting. When we were having council meetings, Doug Cohn was presenting them during public comment. And
No,
so
that's
typically how I saw them. Although I know when he started them, he was starting them out of YouTube. So I think he's posting them online. How he's getting those out to the public, notifying the public they're on YouTube, though, that I'm not entirely sure on.
Just so you know, it's not Doug. It's definitely City of Inglewood money that's going to
correct. I give Doug just carries a lot of credit with me. You're absolutely right. Doug, he's
listed on there as a resource. He's listed on there as a resource. And just so you guys know, he's working on a book of all those different stories he's picked up over his lifetime to create.
And CJ, you've corrected me, and that is correct. I thought it was the public affairs department.
Chris and Ann.
But I believe so, yes, that they're, and frankly, it's a great promotion for the city, and it should be out there more. I've found each one entertaining myself. You know, they're bite-sized. It doesn't take too much attention to last 3-4 minutes, and they're all good stories.
It's very professionally done. They're very professionally done.
Yeah, I keep wishing the narrator knew how to pronounce Colorado, but he's obviously a Texan. But
oh no! Say it isn't so.
Yeah.
Like the way you think, Helene.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Say, did everyone else get a bandana from the city with the city logo and stuff on it?
What are we supposed to do with those?
I don't know. You can't say you don't have a mask.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a very effective mask. I would.
No.
As a nurse, I recommend you do not use them. That's why I wondered where did they come from and why did we have them? And I mean, it came with no card, no letter, nothing.
No, nothing. Yeah, it kind of missed. And I don't know whether it was just boards and commissions that they got it, or whether everybody in Inglewood got one, or.
It seemed like a lot of money for something that.
Yeah.
There's a thought that counts, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Hey,
that's kind of
where's
cool.
the postage? Did you see the postage on there and the bag and
Yeah. Hopefully, maybe they just limited it to boards and commissions, and we're just supposed to wave them around as flags, you know. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, are we ready to adjourn?
Mentally, yes.
Some of us have adjourned already mentally. Is there
All right. Someone want to give me a motion?
So moved.
Second?
That will second. All in favor?
Bye.
Say bye.
Bye. CJ, I'll wait for you though.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Elena.
And I need to stay on because if I leave, then you lose your connection. So
Okay. Goodbye.
if you need to swap some info, let's do that.
Elaine, what's your phone number?
Just for the record,
323.
meeting adjourned at
323?
7:52.
828 here.
828
4017.
4017.
Yeah,
Where's 323?
it's Hollywood. Don't judge me. I can't change it. I love it. I've had that number since I was like 19.
Oh, how cool. Go ahead and write you right now, and we'll call you right now, and we can start talking.
Okay, sounds great. I look forward to it. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
See
Eric.
you guys.
Bye-bye.